Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Martial Universe Season 10 Part 6 based on novel. So let's start. Lin Dong stood on the branch of a tree as his gaze looked forward where an empty plot of land in the Ninetail village was located. At this moment, almost everyone from the Ninetail tribe was gathered here, and the atmosphere appeared somewhat sad. Earlier, Aunt Shin had already mentioned that Xin Qing wanted to attempt the ancestral soul hall. This naturally caused a commotion in the tribe. Unexpectedly, no one objected to it. Some of the young ladies were rather sorrowful. It was likely that this life of living on tenterhooks had caused them to feel a sense of hopelessness. Lin Dong sighed helplessly as he observed this atmosphere. Soon after, he asked in his mind, "Yang, is what you said to me yesterday true?" When Lin Dong declared that he would accompany Xin Qing to the ancestral soul hall last night, the usually nowhere to be found Yang had suddenly appeared. After which, the latter told him some information about the Ninetail tribe of ancient times. In that ancient times, the Ninetail tribe was also an overlord tribe in the demonic beast world. At that time, there were a total of 3 reincarnation stage peak experts in their tribe. Their powers were comparable to the 9 Phoenix, Kuan Peng, and other overlord tribes. Yang explained in an unhurried manner. 3 reincarnation stage experts. Lin Dong's eyes widened. Such power was indeed terrifying. During the Great World Calamity back then, the Ninetail tribe followed by my master's side and made significant contributions in the World War. However, the Ninetail tribe was also targeted by the Yimo because of this. The top experts in the tribe were killed until barely any were left. In the final battle, the last Ninetail spirit fox of their tribe sacrificed her life to seal and suppress 3 Yimo kings. Suppressing 3 Yimo kings. One could tell from Lin Dong's eyes that he was strongly affected by this information. Back at Fiery Flame City, not only was Qing Shi forced to use the king-destroying heavenly plate, but he also needed the support of 4 ancestral symbols in order to destroy an Yimo king. Even so, the other Yimo king eventually managed to escape with some of the former's essence blood. Yet, the ancestor of the Ninetail tribe had relied on her own strength to suppress 3 Yimo king. Although she paid for it with her life, this was still quite terrifying. I suspect that the reason the Ninetail tribe never managed to recover is because of this. Yang mused. Lin Dong narrowed his eyes. You should indeed make a trip to the ancestral soul hall and find out what is going on, Yang said. However, Lin Dong could sense something strange from his words. Is there anything else you want to say? Lin Dong was meticulous and immediately voiced his suspicions. This ancestor of the Ninetail tribe was deeply in love with the devouring master in the ancient times. As an inheritor of the devouring ancestral symbol, you might be able to reap some benefits. Lin Dong was stunned. There was actually such a matter? It seemed like the previous owner of the devouring ancestral symbol was quite charming indeed. He was even able to subdue an ancestor of the Ninetail tribe. Are you certain that the devouring master did not let that person down back then? Lin Dong involuntarily asked. He did not wish to receive terrible treatment due to the devouring ancestral symbol when the time came. What romance could there be back then? If we lost the World War, everything in this world would suffer under the Yimo's cruelty. Who wasn't risking their lives in the fight to protect their loved ones? Yang said. Lin Dong slowly nodded. At such a time, even personal grudges would completely disappear. Young brother Lin Dong. A voice was suddenly transmitted from nearby while Lin Dong and Yang were conversing. He saw Aunt Shin, Xin Qing, and some Ninetail tribe's elders looking at him. Let's go. Lin Dong nodded upon seeing this. His body moved and he appeared beside them. Young brother Lin Dong, are you sure about this? The ancestral soul hall is extremely dangerous. No one has been able to come out alive for so many years. Aunt Shin watched Lin Dong and could not help but warn. Aunt Shin, please lead the way. Lin Dong smiled and did not say anything else. Aunt Shin sighed softly after seeing this. Without further ado, she turned around and led the way, heading straight for the depths of the Ninetail village. Relax, everything will be fine. Lin Dong grinned at Xin Qing, who had been staring at him since the beginning. The latter slightly pursed her tiny mouth and nodded slightly. The group followed behind Aunt Xin and headed towards the deeper parts of the Ninetail village. This continued for around half an hour, before some ruins appeared deep within the dense depths of the forest. There was a huge altar at the center of the ruins. Aunt Xin led the group as they walked up the altar. A stone platform was located at the middle of the altar. With a clench of her fist, a palm-sized bronze statue appeared. The bronze statue was a blood-red fox. However, there were 9 tails dancing behind it. Although this statue was not real, Lin Dong was still able to detect a monstrous demonic aura from it. Looks like the most important thing of the ancestral soul hall was this bronze fox statue. The altar should be some kind of support for it. Are the both of you ready? Aunt Xin looked at Lin Dong and Xin Qing as she asked. Yes. Both of them deeply inhaled and nodded. Aunt Xin also nodded upon seeing this. She placed the bronze statue on the stone platform and flickered her finger. A ball of blood appeared with a flash which gave off a rich bloody scent. This is the blood of all the tribe members of our Nine-Tail tribe, and it is only possible to open the ancestral soul hall through this method. However, each time the ancestral soul hall is opened, it would exhaust a great amount of the bronze statue's energy. This is likely the last time that we can open it. After which, the bronze statue will shatter, Xin Qing softly explained beside Lin Dong. Lin Dong nodded slightly. It seemed that this was the final chance for her Nine-Tail tribe. The blood-colored Nine-Tail spirit fox seemed to have been revived when the ball of blood landed on the bronze statue, and actually let loose a long howl towards the sky. Dark clouds churned in the sky at this moment, and the blood ball turned into a ray of blood-red light that was absorbed into the mouth of the Nine-Tail fox. This ancient howl contained a bleak feeling as it reverberated across the land. The Nine-Tail spirit fox on the altar seemed to glance at Lin Dong and the others, before a blood light erupted from its mouth. The light turned into a huge blood-red door in front of them. Please enter. This is the ancestral soul hall. Aunt Xin's hands were tightly clenched as she softly said. Sir Lin Dong, you must enter with me. Otherwise, you will be expelled. Xin Qing glanced at Lin Dong before extended her delicate small hand. Lin Dong hesitated for a moment before grabbing it. An icy cool feeling appeared in his hand, indicating the unease and anxiety in the young lady's heart. Let's go. Lin Dong grinned at her. Without any hesitation, he opened his stride, pulling Xin Qing as they walked into the blood-red door. The blood-red door rippled as light swept across those two. Subsequently, the door shuddered and the Lin Dong duo vanished. Ornit Xin and the rest watched as the two disappeared. Soon after, they gently clenched their hands and continuously mumbled, Ancestor, please protect the final hope of our Nine-Tail tribe. While they were softly muttering, no one noticed that the Nine-Tail fox statue on the altar was watching the blood-red door with a faint sadness in its eyes. When he stepped into the blood-red door, Lin Dong was able to detect an extremely powerful spatial fluctuation. After which, the blood light before his eyes suddenly brightened before rapidly dimming. Lin Dong's sight also quickly recovered as Yuan power began to swiftly circulate within his body. Lin Dong glanced around but found that there was no danger like he had anticipated. An incomparably vast blood-red sea entered his eyes. At this moment, they were standing on a path above this huge ocean, and there seemed to be a relatively large square at the end of this path. Xin Qing's clear eyes gazed at the huge square at the end of the path. She quickly released Lin Dong's hand and swiftly walked towards it. She could sense a beckoning call that seemed to originate from the ancient times from there. Lin Dong followed closely behind Xin Qing. His eyes continued to sweep across this blood-red realm while slivers of black light and lightning arcs quietly flashed and danced on his hands within his sleeves. The both of them quickly arrived at the square. After which, Lin Dong saw 100,000 feet large stone statue standing at that center of the square. The stone statue seemed to be a nine-tail spirit fox. However, its aura was many times stronger than the bronze statue from earlier. Even though Lin Dong was looking at it from a great distance, he could still feel his heart beat faster. This is our ancestor. Xin Qing looked at the stone statue as a feverish look rose in her eyes. This is the ancestor's skeleton. Lin Dong was slightly startled. It turned out that this was not a stone statue. Instead, it was a skeleton of a true nine-tailed spirit fox. No wonder it possessed such a terrifying aura. Qingqing quickened her pace. After which, she stopped when she was still 10,000 feet from the nine-tailed spirit fox skeleton and knelt down. Both of her hands formed a rather unique posture as three fluffy tails extended from her back. Lin Dong stood behind her and quietly watched this scene. An ancient and desolate song was suddenly emitted from Qingqing's mouth after she displayed this posture. This ancient song reverberated across the realm, and in that moment, they appeared to have returned to ancient times. As the song reverberated, Lin Dong could sense that the yuan power in the area began to ripple. After which, bits of bloodlight began to gather on the bones of the nine-tailed spirit fox. The bloodlight rapidly gathered and very quickly transformed into a human figure. A lady figure of light appeared after the light scattered. The lady was wearing gorgeous clothes and her appearance was extremely seductive. Every frown and smile of hers seemed to make the world appear a little dimmer. Ancestor? Qingqing looked at the incomparably seductive light figure as tears involuntarily flowed from her eyes. My tribe member. The female light figure's eyes were gentle as she looked at Qingqing below. Next, she gently extended her fair and slender hand. That gentle voice of hers was filled with a shocking bewitchment. Receive my inheritance. I have waited a very long time for you. Qingqing slowly extended her small hand as she looked at this light figure. However, just as she was about to make contact with the light figure, a hand was suddenly reached out from behind and grabbed her hand. Qingqing was startled because of this. She quickly looked towards the grave-looking Lin Dong with lost eyes. Sir Lin Dong. Lin Dong ignored her. All he did was stare firmly at the incomparably enchanting lady. After which, he pulled Qingqing as they slowly withdrew. A voice which caused Qingqing's body to suddenly turn ice-cold was emitted from his mouth. You are not a nine-tailed spirit fox. You are not a nine-tailed spirit fox. Lin Dong's voice contained some graveness and vigilance as it reverberated across the square. It seemed as though the atmosphere had solidified in that moment. Qingqing was also stunned by Lin Dong's words and she quickly felt her body turn cold. After which, she revealed an extremely forced smile to him. Sir Lin Dong, what are you saying? I can sense that she has the same bloodline as our nine-tailed tribe in her body. Lin Dong did not reply. All he did was firmly stare at the seductive woman while black light and lightning glow began to surge deep within his eyes. Who are you? You are not someone from her tribe. The enchanting woman frowned slightly as she looked at Lin Dong. Soon after, her tone became much icier. People of my tribe, have you forgotten the rules of our nine-tailed tribe? You actually dare to bring a human into the ancestral soul hall? No? Qingqing hurriedly tried to reply, only to be stopped by Lin Dong. He smiled faintly and said, after so many years, not a single one of your tribe members who went to this ancestral soul hall have managed to return. Don't you find this strange? Qingqing's body shook. Horror due to disbelief finally rose from the depths of her eyes. The person before us is no longer that ancestor of yours, Lin Dong softly said. He immediately smiled at the enchanting woman. Am I right? May I inquire which Yimo king you are? Ancestor, is this true? Qingqing looked at the enchanting woman. There was an extremely faint trace of hope in her eyes. The enchanting woman stared at Lin Dong. The corners of her mouth slowly lifted into a strange smile as she said, it seems like the foolish nine-tailed tribe has finally sensed that something is amiss. Qingqing's small face became ashen. Who exactly are you, little brat? There should not be many people in the present world who are aware of the Yimo's existence. Moreover, you are not even qualified to know of such things given your initial profound death stage strength. The enchanting woman said. Ha ha, I exchanged blows with you Yimo not long ago, and even helped finish off an Yimo king. Lin Dong softly chuckled. The pupils of the enchanting woman suddenly shrunk. After which, she covered her mouth and laughed. Her appearance was extremely alluring. Brat, you really love to boast. Do you know how much power is needed to finish off an Yimo king? A reincarnation stage expert, a king destroying heavenly plate, the support of 4 ancestral symbols. Is that enough? Lin Dong's tone remained unmoved as he spoke. The lovely laughter came to a sudden halt. That enchanting woman finally began to view this mere initial profound death stage young man before her seriously. Her voice became a lot colder. Who exactly are you? Someone who specializes in causing trouble for you, Yimo. Lin Dong grinned. You? Although things had somewhat exceeded my expectations, since you have barged in, I'll make sure that you'll be stuck here together with that girl. The enchanting woman laughed coldly. With a clench of her fist, the sea of blood started to churn wildly. Splashing sounds were heard as countless blood-colored chains suddenly whizzed out from the sea of blood and shot towards Lin Dong with lightning speed. Sir Lin Dong, be careful. Xin Qing hastily cautioned upon seeing this. Lin Dong smiled faintly as a lightning glow crazily surged from one of his eyes. Bang! Frightening thunder suddenly resounded in the realm. After which, a dazzling lightning pillar suddenly erupted from within Lin Dong's body and allowed those blood chains to shoot into it. Lightning arcs danced wildly as they swiftly spread onto the blood chains. The wild and violent power of the thunderbolt ancestral symbols was unleashed, causing the blood-colored chains to crumble an inch at a time. What? The enchanting woman's expression quickly changed upon seeing this. She could detect a familiar strength that frightened her from within the lightning glow. The glow of lightning gathered above Lin Dong's head. As it squirmed, an ancient symbol slowly appeared. Meanwhile, a unique pressure spread outwards. Thunderbolt ancestral symbol. The enchanting woman looked at the ancient symbol that flickered with a lightning glow and immediately clenched her teeth. Only at this moment did she understand why Lin Dong said that he was someone who specialized in causing trouble for them, the Yimo. This person was actually the owner of an ancestral symbol. Although you control the Thunderbolt ancestral symbol, you are weaker than me. It's just as well. Allow me to finish you off today and let this Thunderbolt ancestral symbol disappear from the world. Lin Dong smiled as he looked at the enchanting woman and said, it seems that you are the one who really likes to boost. Do you really believe that the current you is still an Yimo king? A mere incomplete consciousness actually dares to act arrogantly. Why don't you come and give it a try? The enchanting woman released a sharp screech. Immediately, both of her hands formed many seals. Limitless Devil Pillar Prison. Bang bang bang. The sea of blood grew violent as blood-red whirlpools formed one by one. Subsequently, they rotated crazily as blood-red light beams suddenly shot out. Wisps of black chi curled around the beams of light as they hovered in the air in a densely packed manner. Bang! The blood-red light beams that flooded the sky suddenly whistled downwards, forming an inescapable net. That momentum was quite dreadful. Lin Dong lifted his head, black light surging within his eyes. Soon after, black light exploded from his forehead, turning into a huge black hole above his head. The blood-red light beams disappeared in a mysterious fashion upon contact with the black hole as if it was a bottomless hole that could devour everything. Devouring ancestral symbol? How is this possible? The enchanting woman looked at the black hole above Lin Dong as her expression once again changed drastically. At this moment, a sharp screech involuntarily sounded. Rich horror was present in her cry. She never imagined that Lin Dong was not only an ancestral symbol owner, but was in possession of 2 of them at the same time. Lin Dong's hands hung by his side while black light occupied the sky above his head. He looked at the enchanting woman and laughed. This consciousness of yours is quite disorderly. If my guess is correct, you should have been merged from the 3 Yimo kings' consciousness, right? The enchanting woman's eyes were eerie as she stared at Lin Dong. After which, she laughed at the sky. So what if you know? That foolish woman attempted to suppress us 3 kings by herself. Who could have expected that with the flow of time, the consciousness of the 3 of us would suppress hers instead? Over the years, the foolish Nine-Tailed tribe has sent their people to die one after another. Ha ha, do you see it? In fact, this sea of blood is created from the members of the Nine-Tailed tribe. You bastards! Xin Qing bit her lips and fresh blood seeped out. Tears continued to roll down her eyes while her body trembled. She would never have imagined that the place which was originally the hope of their tribe had actually become so terrifying. In other words, as long as we purify your consciousness, the consciousness of the nine-tailed spirit fox will be able to escape from your suppression. Lin Dong softly inquired. Our three consciousnesses have already become tightly linked with hers over tens of thousands of years. If you wish to purify our consciousness, she will also completely disappear. At that time, the nine-tailed tribe will no longer have the opportunity to rise up again. The enchanting woman laughed. Moreover, the power of the ancestral symbols might be tremendous, but they are not suitable for purification. Hence, you have still overestimated yourself. Sir Lin Dong. The trembling voice of the young lady by the side was transmitted over. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she stared unwaveringly at the enchanting lady while rich hatred surfaced within her eyes. My nine-tailed tribe would rather be destroyed together with her. Their final chance has already been lost. This trip to the ancestral soul hall could also be considered as a failure. Xinqing had clearly given up all hope of survival. The expression of the enchanting woman slightly altered. It was likely that she did not expect Xinqing to be so decisive. There is no need to perish together. Lin Dong glanced at the enchanting woman in an indifferent manner and said, "The power of the ancestral symbol is indeed not suitable for purification. In that case, I will use another method." Lin Dong lifted his hand after saying this. Warm white light rose from his palm as an ancient stone talisman appeared within it. White light spread. The warm light, which seemed to be able to encompass all things, immediately scattered a great amount of demon chi that filled the place. As an Yimo king, you should recognize this thing, right? The enchanting woman was dazed as she looked at the ancient stone talisman within the white light. Inconsolable terror surged out from her eyes as a horrified voice was emitted, "Ancestral stone. Damn it. Just who exactly are you? How is it possible that you possess the ancestral stone?" A great storm undoubtedly stirring in her heart at this moment. This profound death stage young man before her not only possessed two powerful ancestral symbols, but also the second-ranked item on the ancient divine object ranking, ancestral stone. This item had killed many Yimo kings during the Great World War of ancient times. Lin Dong ignored her screech as both of his hands formed a seal. After which, a warm white light was suddenly unleashed from the ancestral stone. As the light spread, the black chi that filled the sky was akin to snow under the blazing sun when it came into contact with the warm white light. All of it rapidly disappeared. Ancestral soul devil purifying formation. Light flooded the sky. Suddenly, an ancient voice was emitted from the ancestral stone. Countless threads of white light sprung out from it and swiftly formed a huge white light array around the bewitching woman in the sky. The enchanting woman quickly let out a piercing cry upon seeing this. Her body moved in an attempt to flee into the sea of blood. Trying to escape. Lin Dong smiled coldly upon seeing this. Subsequently, lightning glow and black light erupted. They turned into a light curtain that sealed all the escape paths of the enchanting woman. Only the consciousness of this Yimo king was present, and even its physical body had been destroyed long ago. Naturally, it was unable to pose much of a threat against Lin Dong, who was in control of two ancestral symbols. Bang! While Lin Dong blocked the enchanting woman, the white light array in the sky began to shake violently. After which, a loud noise appeared. Majestic white light poured down from the sky like liquid. In the end, it enveloped the bewitching woman. A miserable screech was suddenly emitted. Under the cleansing of the white light, Lin Dong was able to gradually see traces of black chi swiftly seeping out from within the body of the enchanting lady before being purified. Warm white light shot down from the light array and wrapped around the enchanting woman. Although the white light was gentle, it was clearly extremely deadly against the Yimo. White light shuttled around her body as wisps of black chi were rapidly forced out. Sharp miserable screeches continued to reverberate, however, Lin Dong did not sway. A thought passed through his mind and the formation rotated faster and faster. I am really resentful. Just a little more blood and flesh and we would have been able to rebuild our body. The enchanting woman let out a long and piercing howl. The howl was filled with fury and resentment. They had finally saw some hope after tens of thousands of years. However, this hope had now been completely destroyed. Since you are already dead, stop causing trouble. Disappear obediently from this world. Lin Dong's eyes were indifferent as he completely ignored her resentful roar. A solemn expression flashed across those pitch-black eyes of his as the density of the white light pillar swiftly increased. In the end, it turned into two fingers, one thick and the other thin. Like a white light thorn, they ruthlessly shot into the forehead of the enchanting woman with a swoosh sound, penetrating her body. However, no blood flowed from this hole. Wisps of black chi surged out from within her body in a frightened manner before disappearing with a bang. Crack! The faint sound of something breaking stealthily echoed from within the body of the enchanting woman. The mournful shrieking gradually faded at this moment as those bewitching eyes slowly shut themselves. The devil chi that filled the place had completely vanished. Lin Dong looked at the bewitching woman who was floating in the sky with shut eyes. He beckoned with his hand and the ancestral stone flew back into his hand before it finally disappeared with a flash. So Lin Dong, what happened? Xin Qing hurriedly asked from the side. Lin Dong's eyes were tightly focused on the bewitching woman. The spinning thunderbolts and black light above his head did not show any signs of dispersing. Although the ancestral stone possessed the ability to purify Yimo Qi, no one knew if the Yimo King's consciousness in her body had really been completely removed. A couple of minutes passed while Lin Dong's observation continued. Light suddenly gushed out from the body of the enchanting woman once again. However, this time around, it was not an evil aura. Instead, it was a somewhat pink radiance. The pink light spread and the tightly shut eyes of the enchanting woman slowly opened. She looked at the Lin Dong duo and smiled. Her smile contained a frightening bewitchment. Nine-tailed spirit fox. Lin Dong looked at the enchanting woman who had once again opened her eyes as his brows raised a little. The feeling that the latter gave him was completely different from earlier. Is she finally free? The enchanting woman lowered her head to look at her long and slender hands. A complicated expression filled her bewitching eyes. After which, she glanced at Lin Dong and nodded gently, "This young friend, thank you." Although her consciousness had been suppressed, she was clearly aware of what was going on outside. Lin Dong quietly sighed in relief. If the nine-tailed spirit fox's consciousness was erased, it would be meaningless for Xin Qing to come to this ancestral soul hall. Ancestor? Xin Qing's eyes reddened once again as she gazed upon the nine-tailed spirit fox. The ripples from the latter's body caused her to feel a great reliance towards the latter. My tribe member. The nine-tailed spirit fox gently descended from the air. Her eyes contained gentleness and guilt as she looked at Xin Qing. After which, she extended her arms and embraced the latter as she mumbled, "Ancestor has let all of you down. You should be aware of what happened here, right?" Lin Dong asked. A gloomy expression flashed across the eyes of the nine-tailed spirit fox as she slowly nodded and said, "Back then, I ignited my demonic spirit to suppress 3 king-rank Yimo. I originally intended to die along with them, but I underestimated the strong life force of those creatures. Although our physical bodies degraded over time, the consciousness of those 3 continued to be tightly entwined with my own. Finally, they invaded my consciousness and suppressed me. The reason the nine-tailed tribe remained ordinary for so many years should also be related to this, right?" Lin Dong frowned slightly. The nine-tailed spirit fox nodded in a bitter manner. She stroked Xin Qing's long hair and said, "There is a blood link between the members of the nine-tailed tribe. Through my body, those 3 fellows used some insidious methods to interfere with the bloodline of the tribe. This caused all the members of the tribe to be unable to reach the highest cultivation stage. While the tribe members were at their wits' end, they thought of going to the ancestral soul hall to seek answers. However, my spiritual body had already been taken over by those 3 fellows. All I could do over the years was to watch the members of the tribe come here and end up being tricked by them into entering the sea of blood and turning into blood energy." The voice of the nine-tailed spirit fox was filled with grief. This helpless feeling of watching while being powerless to stop them had tormented her greatly. Xin Qing deeply bit into her lips while tears gathered within her large eyes. "I know that the lives of my tribe members have been extremely bitter over these years. This is my fault. The nine-tailed spirit fox softly said. Ancestor is not at fault. Those Yimo are far too malicious. Xinqing shook her head and said. Elder is a virtuous person. Lin Dong spoke in a deep voice. He had great admiration for this act of self-sacrifice by the nine-tailed spirit fox. Virtuous? Ha ha, a little lass like me cannot shoulder such words. It is just that everyone will suffer when disaster strikes. No one could hide from the world war. The nine-tailed spirit fox smiled faintly. She glanced at the devouring ancestral symbol floating above Lin Dong's head before a complicated feeling flashed across her eyes. She said, moreover, that fellow loves to cause trouble. He even dared to cross the crack between the plains and charge into the Yimo tribe. I merely accompanied him during his adventures. Lin Dong was slightly startled. Immediately, he understood that she was referring to the devouring master. It seemed like the latter was a ferocious individual. To think that he actually dared to cross the crack between the plains. Elder, will the nine-tailed tribe regain its glory? Now that I am no longer being suppressed of those three fellows, their interference will also disappear. The nine-tailed spirit fox lifted her head and looked at the sea of blood as she softly said, this sea of blood is created from the experts of the nine-tailed tribe that have come in the past tens and thousands years. It also contains the pure energy from the three Yimo kings. Young friend, when you leave this place, please tell the current tribe members to activate the formation that I left behind and completely seal the mountain. I will return the energy here to them. Lin Dong was a little surprised. The energy here was far too frightening. Just how many experts would be created if it was returned to the current nine-tailed tribe? Looks like the nine-tailed tribe truly had the hope of rising again. Lin Dong smiled on top of feeling surprised. He lowered his head to look at Xinqing and said, from now on, all of you no longer need to beg anyone else to protect you. He understood that once the nine-tailed tribe emerged from their sealed mountain status, this former overlord tribe of the demonic beast world would once again stand at the top of the demon region. They would no longer need to worry about anyone having ill thoughts towards them. Sir Lin Dong, you are the benefactor of our nine-tailed tribe. Even if the nine-tailed tribe regains its previous glory, we will assist you like how our ancestor assisted the devouring master. Xinqing glanced at Lin Dong. A special ripple flashed within her eyes. She suddenly turned around and put both hands on her forehead. Her three fluffy tail leaned against her back, appearing just like a small fox that was paying respect to the moon as she gently knelt toward Lin Dong. A slightly stunned expression flashed across the nine-tailed spirit fox's eyes when she saw Xinqing's kneeling posture. She took another glance at Lin Dong and her mouth moved as if she wanted to say something, before she finally chose to remain silent. She did not inform Lin Dong that this was the highest grace of the nine-tailed tribe, only the nine-tailed tribe chief and successor had the qualifications to use it. This was because it represented the entire nine-tailed tribe. Such a formality had only appeared twice in the nine-tailed tribe. The first was when she used it on the devouring master. The second was occurring right before her eyes. Devouring master, devouring ancestral symbol. The nine-tailed spirit fox softly sighed in her heart as she smiled bitterly. Does my nine-tailed tribe truly owe you? It seems that we will never able to cut the ties between us. Lin Dong was unfamiliar with such formality. Naturally, he did not understand what it represented. He merely squatted and smiled gently as he rubbed Xinqing's small head. This girl is extremely talented. The nine-tailed spirit fox glanced at Xinqing with a small smile and said, are you willing to receive my inheritance? She quickly approached Xinqing. Using a soft voice that only the both of them could hear, she said, only by becoming strong, will one have the qualifications to pursue the person that one likes. Xinqing's small face reddened a little. Immediately, she slowly shook her head under the nine-tailed spirit fox's surprised eyes and softly said, I am merely a little girl, however, I require the ancestor's inheritance. It will be all right as long I am able to help like ancestor helped the devouring master back then. The nine-tailed spirit fox once again smiled bitterly. This was a scene that she was extremely familiar with. Their voices were extremely soft and Lin Dong naturally did not have any intention of trying to eavesdrop. Hence, He stood by the side and occasionally glanced over in an innocent manner, only to see the nine-tailed spirit fox secretly staring at him. He quickly laughed dryly. Could it be that she was treating him as the devouring master in her heart? This little girl will stay here and receive my inheritance. The nine-tailed spirit fox stood up in an elegant manner and said, "This might require a rather long time. Of course, the process will also be quite painful. Are you sure about this?" Xinqing slowly nodded. Her eyes were filled with determination. The nine-tailed spirit fox turned around. She waved her hand and the 100,000 feet large nine-tailed skeleton slowly melted. Subsequently, it turned into liquid, forming a bone pool that was filled with viscous dark red liquid. "Enter." Xinqing nodded and slowly stood up. Those eyes of hers looked at Lindong as an enchanting was revealed on her small face. "Sir Lindong, I will not be a burden the next time I appear before you. When that time comes, I hope that you don't think of me as a burden instead." Lindong softly chuckled. He did not know just how strong Xinqing would become after completely receiving the inheritance. However, it was likely not an ordinary level. Xinqing covered her mouth and laughed softly. Without any hesitation, she lifted her head and looked at the bone pool. Soon after, she deeply inhaled a mouthful of air and rushed forward. With a splash, she landed in the bone pool. No ripples were formed. Lindong gazed at the bone pool. He could detect the terrifying energy gathering within it. It was as though something was brewing inside. "It is finally settled." Lindong stretched his waist. He had finally resolved this matter that he had been worrying about. "You are called Lindong, right?" The nine-tailed spirit fox gently smiled as she looked at him before asking. "Yes." Lindong nodded. The nine-tailed spirit fox thought for a moment before asking, "Do you wish to receive the inheritance of the devouring master?" This video will end here.